Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, and we are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our TNA Genesis 2026 and TNA Impact on AMC Debut Preview, breaking down the two huge shows for TNA Wrestling coming up this week on Thursday and Saturday. And of course, to do that, I am not riding solo on this occasion here. I am for now, but don't worry. We will be joined by someone else. But for now, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, breaking everything down from TNA Wrestling. What a week for TNA, as they will be making their premiere episode on AMC Network this coming Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as this coming Saturday, January 17th. They will be live in Garland, Texas for TNA Genesis 2026, the first pay-per-view of the year for TNA. But we're going to break it all down with you. Appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Let's drop a thumbs up on the video. That helps out the YouTube algorithm oh so much. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the comments down below. Love to interact with you there, and you can give your thoughts, your everything that you think is going to happen from TNA this coming Thursday and Saturday, live from Garland, Texas. You can let us know in the live chat, in the comments down below. If you're with us live, sound off in the live chat. Give us your predictions for TNA on AMC this Thursday, as well as TNA Genesis 2026. Who do you think is going to walk out of Garland, Texas as the TNA World Champion? We got the current champion, Frankie Kazarian. We got the former champion, Mike Santana. They will go one-on-one this coming Thursday, live in Garland, Texas, their premiere on AMC. And there is the looming dark cloud on this matchup, as Nick Nemeth currently owns the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy, so he can call his shot. If you watched TNA Impact last week, he did tease that he is looking to cash in his Call Your Shot Gauntlet on either Kazarian or Santana, depending on the result this coming Thursday. We might get that on Thursday, or we might get that at Genesis this Saturday. So let us know in the live chat who you think is going to walk out of Texas TNA World Champion. But we got a lot more to discuss outside of that, so we're going to interact with all of you in the live chat. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel in the best way possible, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We got in the chat with us already. We got Zach Minger, who says National Pizza Week, SP3 and Joel. Pizza Week, count me up. I will get some pizza this week, Zach, just because you said that it's pizza week. That means that I have to get a slice of some good old-fashioned pizza here in the UK, which hopefully I could find some pizza that is even remotely close to New York style pizza here in the UK. We got Hassan, who is requesting us to do TNA Genesis preview today. He says, let's roll up True Hill Heat Wrestling called TNA Wrestling Genesis and the AMC Network premiere. He says, let's do it. And of course, I can't do it alone. I can't talk about TNA without True Hill Heat's own TNA expert. He joins me usually for the previews for the big pay-per-views for TNA Wrestling. And he is here, the one and only co-host of Fightful Overbooks in the Weeds, the host of the TNA Impact post show, the one and only Joel Pearl is here. How are you doing, Joe?
I am so sorry. behind the scenes. So I've got a new camera, or not a new camera, I've got a new computer, and I've been trying to set it up all day. Did it in the weeds earlier, no problems. Then we started to set up for this, and as the intro tape is rolling, my camera freezes, and then everything freezes. And I'm like, I got to figure this stuff out. So I apologize. I came in, I was ready, and then I wasn't. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm here, though.
Okay.
For how long, I don't know.
Well, we will appreciate any time that you got with us. We love having you on the show to talk some TNA, to talk some wrestling in general. And there is a lot to discuss from TNA wrestling heading into this Thursday and Saturday. TNA, like we said before, TNA on AMC debut on Thursday. We got TNA Genesis on Saturday. How excited are you for the week ahead for TNA, seeing that you are the guy that covers it more than anyone out here in the wrestling media world?
I was a lot more excited maybe 2 weeks ago. As we get closer, I have to be honest, I'm not that excited. And we're going to talk about why. And there's going to be some things that are so frustrating because there are things that haven't happened yet, and there are things that I expect to happen. And my feelings are low in terms of the two things that I keep saying should help this rebrand: creative and production. And I don't think we're going to get any changes to the first. And the second, I mean, that's great, but if you can't work with number one, the number two kind of doesn't matter. And the way that they have been promoting these two shows almost in tandem, it's not working for me. And I don't have high hopes given what they've announced for Thursday. So I'm going to try not to be a complete downer, but I can tell you there are things that just keep making me wrap my head around a table and say, what are we doing here?
Well, we might as well just get into the nitty gritty here, because TNA is not like getting a lot of like buzz or attention for this big AMC premiere this week. A lot of the talk around TNA has been seemingly the company doing budget cuts or cost cutting measures as they build up for this big premiere. They're going to be seen by, we would hope, more people than they have been being seen on Access TV over the last couple of years, going from Impact Wrestling to TNA Wrestling. And the lineup, it looked good, like you said, like a week and a half ago. But one of the big matches that everybody was looking forward to was Leon Slater versus Myron Reed for the TNA X Division Championship. And the big news of the week from TNA has really been the fact that they are losing some key people, not like upper top stars or anything like that, but we know Jake Doyle, aka Jake something, he left the company on January 1st. He has now signed with All Elite Wrestling, debuting on the first Dynamite of 2026. Then earlier in the week, it was Killer Kelly was reported by Fightful Select of leaving TNA after her contract expired. And now the big news from yesterday was the report that TNA has seen the Rascals, all four members of the Rascals, Trey Young and Zachary Wentz, who were the Central's Rascal team over the last couple of years on TNA programming. Their contracts have expired and they've left the company. Desmond Xavier, who was more here for a per date deal after leaving WWE NXT, he has left the company as well. And Myron Reed, who has been someone who in storyline even has said he doesn't have a contract with TNA. He's been kind of trying to earn a contract, but apparently he has decided to leave with the rest of the Rascals as well. That is the big one, because the Rascals have been one of the most consistent highlights of TNA for the better part of 8 years. They came into the company in 2018, and now all of them are leaving at once. So what's your thoughts on these big losses for TNA? And seemingly with the Rascals, it was they didn't want to give them a better contract. It seems like that's the reason why they decided to leave.
So first of all, you called him Trey Young, which pops me for multiple reasons.
Trey Miguel. I'm sorry.
Okay. Listen, y'all talk basketball on your other show.
See, I literally did a basketball podcast earlier today. That's why my mind is on Trey Young.
I heard Trey Young. I was
Trey
like,
Miguel.
It's going to be his new name wherever he lands. It's going to be Trey Young. So here's Here's the multi-layered frustration with this. The Rascals spent an entire 2 months talking about how the contracts were coming up and how they wanted to win and get a new deal. And normally when you tell a story like that on television, it ends with the good guys getting new contracts. And instead, one of them, Myron Reed, wins a 4-way or a 3 because Dez got his. It was a triple threat and gets an X Division title shot for the new year, but it ain't happening because guess what happened to the guys who didn't have contracts at the end of the year, who were telling a storyline that they didn't have a contract at the end of the year? Well, it turns out they don't have a contract and they weren't going to get a new one. So why were you telling the story in the first place? That's step one. Step two, Killer Kelly. Where does she fit in all this? Well, her and Myron Reed are an item. They have a child. They are engaged. They might even be married at this point, but they are definitely engaged. They are together. If you're not going to renew even on a short-term deal, well, I would also walk if I didn't have a deal and you just said, well, your partner's not going to be staying because we don't really value her to that degree. So guess what? I'm going to go wherever the grass is greener, or I'll just take a shot on the indies, whatever it is. If I got scooped up by another company, same thing. I will go wherever I'm going to be treated well. And if I had to take a guess, I would say that those 4 men are about to be treated very well wherever they go, because they could have easily stuck around TNA or tried to at least, but they didn't. And I think that's an indictment more on TNA than it is on those 4 guys, because they are incredibly talented and they are very much TV ready, TV veterans. They have a character. They have a group of guys. Like they should be wanted by anyone who would want to pay them. And for some reason, TNA did what TNA does. They set up a match with the guy who doesn't have a contract for the big show that they're going to put on as their big debut. A match that was going to be great, by the way, because we've seen it before and it was great the first time they ran it. And now they can't do it.
Victory Road main event last year, right?
It was either Victory Road. It was the one in Edmonton.
Yeah, I think that was Victory Road. I remember that match in the main event, and that was the best match on the card.
There you go. So case in point, you knew Myron Reed and Leon Slater were going to tear it up, run it back. It was going to be fantastic. And then Leon Slater was going to go on to do the triple threat of Genesis. That's the way it looked, and it was going to be fun. And everyone was going to be like, hell yeah, great match. We're going to enjoy it. But instead, TNA did what TNA does, and they just said, oh, what match? What's happening? Oh, Leon Slater's just going to go on to Genesis. And by the way, AJ Styles! And we'll get to that in a little bit too. So the Rascals being gone is also personally frustrating because I like those 4 guys from a personal standpoint. I've had great conversations with them, communication with them. I like watching them work, and I like their ideas. Not every one of them are perfect, but at least they have the drive to be successful in this business.
Yeah. And like I said, since they came to TNA, I've always thought they were one of the highlights of TNA, especially in that like pandemic era of TNA. They were so much fun to watch. I remember their matches with the Motor City Machine Guns when they first came back to TNA. They tore it up with those guys, tore it up with the North. They've been around for so long that I'm saying names that are now in like AEW and WWE that they've been able to like clash with. And then they finally were able to win the TNA Tag Team Championships. Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz a couple of years back had that great rivalry with ABC. But you're absolutely right. Like the story over the last couple of months has been about if TNA is gonna re-sign them, if they're gonna get new contracts, but they haven't been kind of like pushed in the way that they were even just a couple of years ago. And even in the early going, in their first couple of years, it felt like they were kind of underutilized in a way where they could have been TNA World Tag Team Champions a whole lot earlier when it was really Dez and Wentz who were the tag team, and Trey was kind of a single star at that time. But just missed opportunity after missed opportunity with the Rascals. And it's similar to what we said about like Jake Doyle, Jake something. That was another guy who just never was given like the push that he deserved or needed to become a star in TNA. Like he was cousin Jake, that he was Jake something because they didn't want to come up with a last name for it. Yeah, so it's weird, and you're absolutely right. Like the creative side of things is where TNA needs to improve, but it doesn't even feel like that is the focus. It feels like the focus is oh, we're going to be number 2. We're going to push AEW for the number 2 fan perception out there. And I just think that's the wrong way to promote your company. Instead of promoting your company on the good that you are doing it as a competition with another company.
I'm going to say this again on Thursday on the post show. You'll probably hear it on In the Weeds as well. If you are someone who works with TNA, or you know somebody at TNA, or you're just someone who is a fan of TNA and you want to see the best for this company, look at me right now and listen to my words. Stop with the number 2 because you're poking a bear, and that bear owns an NFL team, and those don't come cheap. They don't come cheap. Stop it. It's going to bite you more than you know.
Thank you. I just don't get it. Because there is good to the lineup that they have on Thursday and on Saturday. But much like you said earlier, I'm kind of disappointed by the lineup on Thursday because it has been greatly affected by the lack of Leon Slater versus Myron Reed. When you take that match off this card, it just doesn't look that strong for a first ever episode on a new network.
There's nothing more I can add. You're absolutely right, and I agree.
We got Power Driver Finisher, a fan of both In the Weeds and True Hill Heat. He says, damn, Joel defending AEW. AEW wins again.
Look, man, you cannot sit here and say, even from a financial standpoint, there is no arguing that AEW has more money in the bank than TNA because you have a private owner who has a lot of money at play. Doesn't even matter where you side in terms of your fandom. It just doesn't. But if you're really going to keep poking that bear, he's going to bite back, and you shouldn't be surprised when he does. And he'll do it in ways that you can't win back. So put it away. Put away the number 2 conversation. Start focusing on what makes you a legacy brand. You've been around for 20 plus years. You survived. You are the cockroach of wrestling. And I say that with the most love that I can, because I've said this for years. A nuclear blast, the 3 things that survive: Twinkies, ding dongs, and cockroaches. Okay? These are the cockroaches of wrestling. They have survived every attempt at wiping them out. They should run with that. They've done things like Wrestle House. They've done things like the Undead Realm. They've done things like the Hardy Compound. Are those for everyone? No, but you know who they're for? Someone. And someone like those enough that if you think outside the box like you have in the past and you pull out stuff like that, you're going to get talked about. Not everyone's going to love it, but people are going to eventually want to run with it. And you can be the Lucha Underground type of presentation that works for your brand, but you're refusing to because you want to be, we're old school, classic style wrestling. Well, no, because just saying, oh, the show was fine, that only gets away when I say it, but you guys can't get away with saying it. So stop trying to do it. Be different.
Yeah, and like you're absolutely right. Like that was the whole thing that I was saying when TNA first got this deal with AMC. I was like, I've never seen anything like this where a company, a major wrestling company, was on a network, get taken off of a network, and like we're just gone into the abyss for the better part of a decade. Usually that company is dead. Before TNA, every company that got taken off of their big network, they would have a slow but surely death afterwards. TNA survived it and now is on probably an even bigger network today than what Spike TV was back in 2005. And yet they're not pushing that as their identity. They're pushing, we're going to be number 2 because we're connected to number 1. That makes no type of sense.
And they don't, like, again, number 1 doesn't even have ownership, despite everybody and their mother trying to make it seem that way and sound that way. They don't. WWE does not own TNA. They have a partnership because they don't want to get into an antitrust lawsuit again. It's purely strategic, and that's okay. But you need to stop. Eventually, you need to push back and say, I can't keep saying I'm number 2 because it's going to hurt everybody. And it's not going to be success. It's not going to be a successful venture for TNA.
Exactly. But let's get into things. We will start with the TNA Impact Thursday, as they're coining it now. It is now rebranded to TNA Thursday Night Impact. Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, Thursday Night Impact. I get it. we always do this with our previews here. We'll start off with the Thursday show from 0 to 10. What is your hype level for TNA on AMC this Thursday?
2 weeks ago, it would have been a 7. After yesterday, it's down to a 3. It really just took one guy, and I guess I am kind of being tongue-in-cheek, 3D. It took one person and one announcement to really just drop that right down, because I knew the X Division title match was off when they weren't promoting it as on last week's Impact. But now it's like, now we're just completely just whatever, bring Bully. But yeah, I'm about a 3.
And of course, in the live chat, let us know what you think. What's your hype level for Thursday night Impact on AMC? And even like, I know people that are close to people in TNA, and they are like kind of surprised at the level of the lack of buzz going into Thursday's show. And a lot of that has to do with the lineup. A lot of that has to do with the approach to promote this show, and just overall, just the where this company is at current time going into the premiere.
You know who I'm really excited to hear from, and I say this completely honestly, I'm really excited to hear what the streamers who are going, what they have to say about the experience.
Yeah,
and maybe I want to hear more from behind the scenes how they felt, because I don't know what they're going to be saying in front. But I see a lot of our streamer friends going, and this is not a knock on our streamer friends at all, because we really do like them and we really do get along with them. I hope they enjoy it. I hope it's a good experience, and I'm very curious to see what they rate the experience as.
I'm looking forward to that as well. A couple of comments to highlight here. For me, I will say first, I will give, you know what? I'm going to be the positive one on this one. And I'm going to go with a 5. I'm going to go right smack down in the middle at a 5.
That's positive.
Yeah, that's positive. That's as positive I'm willing to go here. 5, because I'm just like weirdly fascinated by the whole approach and how everything's gonna turn out. Are they gonna have this blow-away show because they need it? Or is it just going to be the show that I expect it to have? And it's the show that weekly I watch. I watch it on Friday morning. I don't watch it live anymore, but Friday morning I watch TNA Impact every single week. Is it going to be that show, or are we going to see a different approach to the on-screen product? Hopefully not the same approach as the marketing and the promotion of the event.
No comment.
Hey, we got a high man here. We got Power Driver Finisher, who gives it a 9.5. He says, because I'm interested to see what they're planning. It's most likely going to be a letdown, but that can sometimes be fun, not in a hating way, but in reality. LOL, TNA.
Shouldn't they want to be more than that? I mean, clearly not, because again, you look at who they've promoted for this show, who they're keeping, who's losing, who's leaving, whatever. But just, shouldn't we want more? I get that we shouldn't, because we're a bunch of trolls here, but man, so while we're talking, and I'm thinking on my other hand, how many wrestlers, because I support the wrestlers, not the companies, how many wrestlers on this brand am I seriously like, not ride or die? I'm not Alicia Edwards, but I would, who would I really want to champion and continue seeing succeed? And like, I'm wondering if I can get to 2 hands with it, because it's dwindling, and that affects my enjoyment of the product, which in turn affects my wanting to continue covering the company. So just something to think about while things are going on.
Yeah. We got Adam in the chat. He says WWE hates competition. We can have 2 promos. WWE is ran by TKO. They just care about money, and he's at a -5 for his anticipation of Thursday's show. We got a 20% from Ace who doesn't even care about the 0 to 10. He just went 20% out of 100. But let's talk about this lineup here for Thursday. We got, for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships, it's going to be the Inspiration, Cassie Lee and Jess McKay, defending the titles against, as Joel coined them, the Elegances. the Elegance brand, Heather and M by Elegance. These two teams have been feuding ever since the Inspiration returned to TNA Wrestling back last June. They were chasing the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships for months. They then won it on an episode of Impact, I believe back in October, winning the tag team championships. They've held on to them for over the last couple of months. Heather and M picked up a big win over the Angel Warriors thanks to help from Dani Luna a few weeks back to earn this opportunity on the premiere episode. So who do you think walks out TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions? Joel.
Congratulations to the Elegance is on another Knockouts tag team title reign. The Inspiration are losing. They were, you saw it on the screen. They look surprised to be doing that match at the AMC debut. I don't think they're long for the Knockouts tag team titles. So the Elegance is where I'm at.
I agree with you. I think the Elegance brand does regain the titles, or first time for M by Elegance. The former champions were Heather and Ash by Elegance. M by Elegance joining the team. I think that the Elegances regain the titles here. Do you think that we get a Knockout World Tag Team Championship match then on Saturday at Genesis, maybe on the pre-show or countdown to Genesis?
Yes. And I'm trying to think against. I always default to the Hex.
I haven't been here in like a year.
Yeah, exactly. I always default to them. So I love the Hex, but regardless, I see them doing it, and they got to fill out that card too. So I can see the Elegance is winning, and then being a part of the pre-show. Normally, it's a countdown match. So that's where I'm at with that. Who they face? Oh man. So I think
Essa with the Diamond, what they've been calling them, the Diamond Collective, Essa and Mila Moore.
I could see those two. Yeah, the only other option I could think of was going to be something like Rosemary and a debuting Priscilla Kelly, and that's not that doesn't last for long. It's a one and done. PK turns on Rosemary at the end, and they do a feud. I could see something like that. I am of the belief that PK is coming to Impact for multiple reasons. So. I wouldn't be surprised to see her, but it could be those two. I like Diamond Mine as one of the options. Since we're gonna work with NXT, we may as well rip off their old IP.
Why not? Why not? Right?
Put Tessa on the pre-show. It's fine. It's best for business.
Diamonds are forever. They call them that. We can go anything diamond wise here. Right. But we're both going with the Elegance brand to regain the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Then we got a 6-man tag team matchup, not championship match, but 6-man tag team matchup is going to be Elijah teaming up with the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, to versus Mustafa Ali and the Great Hands. Order 4. This is a preview matchup for Elijah versus Mustafa Ali at Genesis, which we'll give our predictions for that in a bit here. But on Thursday, who you got? Elijah and the Hardys or Order 4?
I think Ali pins Elijah. Oh, no, I don't. Sorry. I think Elijah pins Ali, and then Ali gets his win back in the singles match at Genesis. I said this on the pre-show, on my post-show. The fact that they were doing Elijah and Ali when they're going to rebuild Ali as a world championship contender, you can't bring Elijah back and have him lose in what would have been his first match back. So I was like, how are they going to get around? Well, they found a way to get around it, and that's to do the 6-man tag 2 nights before the pay-per-view. And that way you have Elijah get the win. He's going to pin either Ali, and they'll make a big deal out of it, going to add some heat to the match, or he's going to pin one of the Great Hands, and nothing really is lost there. And then Ali should get the win 2 nights later at the pay-per-view. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but that's kind of where I see it. These things all kind of meld together because TNA decided, oh yeah, let's do a big TV debut and do 2 days later a pay-per-view. Yeah, that won't blow up in our face at all. Sorry, continue.
I'm gonna go with Order 4 here. Only because I think that the result at the pay-per-view will be different. Despite Ali, he did confirm he has re-signed with TNA early last week. He had the interview with Denise Salcedo where he revealed that he re-signed with TNA. I do think they're going to build him up to be a title contender. I just don't think they have any type of time frame on that. So like maybe we get like a Slammiversary or a Bound for Glory in Chicago, and that's where we will get the big Ali world title matchup that they've pretty much been building since the beginning of 2025 when he returned to TNA and said he wanted to be TNA World Champion.
God, I just want that Ali Santana match so bad.
It's
I
like,
need it. We just need
the
to.
easiest match to do, and they should have done it over the last 12 months.
This is the story of TNA. This is what they do. This is what they do. Sorry, wrong promotion.
All right. Um,
Bridges and things of that nature.
So we got to talk about a couple of the guest stars that will be
Do we
on
have
TNA.
to?
No, we're not going to talk about Perez Hilton. I'm sorry.
Thank God.
Now we're going to talk about that. But we will talk about this gentleman here. The phenomenal AJ Styles returns to TNA Wrestling on Thursday Night Impact on AMC. It was announced by Tommy Dreamer on Busted Open Radio that AJ Styles will make his return to TNA for the first time since Slammiversary. At Slammiversary, he did basically give the endorsement to good old Leon Slater. What do you think how they're going to use AJ Styles on the premiere episode on AMC?
This is the ongoing conversation I've been having with Jeremy Lambert over on In the Weeds. We are both of the belief, while also at odds at the idea that AJ is going to wrestle one last match in TNA. Jeremy is incredibly adamant that it's not going to happen. I am also of the belief that it won't happen, especially because going back to Slammiversary, they said one more match, and he's like, yeah, we'll get to that. Well, they never got back to that. He was there to give the rub to Leon, and it feels like that's what he's going to try to do. But at the same time, I think he's now going to play into the main event because there's another guest who's going to be part of the main event. And I think that might lead to, if they do a match with AJ Styles, I think that might lead to a separate match with AJ or even a tag team match that involves AJ. That's if AJ wrestles. He could easily just be coming here to do the, buy more tickets at the last minute rub, because that's what TNA has done before. They just wanted to get a couple more people. So it could be as easy as that. Lance Storm was the smartest man in the world yesterday. He was on Observer Radio guesting, and when he was asked, like, is AJ going to have a match at Genesis? They're like, well, it'd be incredibly foolish for us to bring him on 2 days or a day and a half before our next pay-per-view without any, point of reference or without any build. And I was like, yes, Lance, you're right. That would be stupid, but it's exactly the thing that your friends at work would do. So that's kind of where I'm like, is he going to go back to work in the UK, or is he going to stay for a couple of more days? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that maybe we get I'm trying to think of who's the heels that could step up to him. I said before Slammiversary that Frankie Kazarian made a lot of sense, but like you said, he's involved in the main event, so maybe we could see AJ mix it up with the main event scene. I would say if he's going to have a separate segment, I could see someone like Eric Young. Maybe that's how Eric Young introduces the cleansing of some type, or he gets confronted by, because AJ is a WWE guy who's going to be very much in favor of the success of TNA. Maybe he's confronted by the NXT Outlaws of Stax, our international champion, and Lexis King, and that maybe that leads to a tag team matchup of AJ Styles and Steve Macklin versus the NXT Outlaws.
Not sure about that last part. Unless you're doing it at a different show at a different time or in a different city. The AJ coming back, yeah, it's either gonna. I don't think he's gonna be confronted by UI. I really could. So let's talk about Can we talk about the other guy who's gonna be here?
Oh, are you talking about the guy who will be on commentary for the main event? It is the former two-time TNA World Champion, the host of Busted Open Radio, 23-time World Tag Team Champion, and TNA Hall of Famer, special guest commentator for the main event, Bully Ray, who looks like he wants to fall asleep in this picture. We're gonna do this. Can you guys tell the difference here?
Bro. Sorry, wrong guy. Stupid shit. So, bro. And then the joke is, am I doing DDP or am I doing Vince Russo? Typically, I'm doing DDP because I like to do the dog. Bro. You got to draw out the bro if you're doing the other guy. Anyway.
Bro.
Bro. You got bro. Yeah, exactly. All right. So going back to AJ, and now we know Bully. Okay. Bully will be on commentary for the main event. It feels like he's going to try to get himself involved somehow. And before everyone starts yelling, he's retired. He's not retired. The tag team he was in is retired. Team 3D is retired. His tag team partner is like, I'm done. He's still very much wanting to wrestle and be active and keep going. And God bless him. Maybe he can. But point is, I can see AJ maybe stopping Bully from doing that and getting involved. And whether that leads into Kazarian and AJ one-on-one, because that's something those two have been talking about, or if it's a tag team match between Bully and Frankie versus Santana and AJ at the pay-per-view on Saturday, then you can get away with that. You usually would want a big title match. Oh, by the way, what does that mean for Nick Nemeth? Who knows? He doesn't actually cash in. Who knows? That's the other part of the coin. So everything's a big schmaz. Everything is up in the air. But at the same time, it's, Bully's going to be there and didn't really need to be there, but here he is. They're going to book the Josh Alexander feud from 2023. So get exactly, they did this is the Santana thing. He wins, then he loses, then he wins back the title. We're currently at that part where he wins back the title. And then he gets confronted with Bully, who shakes his hand and then takes him out. And then he got to do a battle for New York. And then it's going to be the big thing that goes into a New York pay-per-view. Who knows? Maybe not. What are they going to do? The Melrose Ballroom again? Anyway,
they get Johnny Rods back, and Johnny Rods is going to be training Bully for the matchup, while Amazing Red trains Mike Santana for the matchup, and they can do Melrose Ballroom for what was it? What's the one in April?
Rebellion.
There you go.
And so this is the big question. It's like, how do you why would you do this, and why would you replay the Josh Alexander thing? Because Josh, again, he beat Christian Cage, right? Was it Christian? Yeah. Christian got cashed in by Moose. This was a Bound for Glory 2021. 2022.
No, 2021. You're right.
Yeah, and then he win, and then Josh wins the title finally, and Bully starts the feud. They do multiple shows together, and like by the end of it, it was fine because Bully like found the groove and realized if I just do hardcore matches, people will enjoy it, and it was enjoyable, and like the story got okay. But like we don't need to do it again. We don't need to do Santana versus Bully again and then do it for the Pride of New York and the TNA title. We don't need that. We don't. And maybe I'm just getting pre-mad, but if that's where we're going, I might just cry. And I've seen this story before. So yeah, Bully just needs to stop looking for that payday. Man, he's got one. Busted Open, good enough for him. Dang.
Hey, Busted Open pay him very well, and he's doing well over there. I just want him to stick to that. I don't want to see him wrestle anymore, especially after one final table. I think I'm good.
Oh, don't do it. Oh, my 5-star match.
And finally, for this Thursday, the TNA Thursday Night Impact premiere on AMC. The main event is for the TNA World Championship. Frankie Kazarian will defend against the former champion, Mike Santana. Of course, these two men are no strangers to one another. They faced prior to this in 2024. I think it was Kazarian beat Santana to move on to the 6-way matchup at Slammiversary, but then they revisited this whole rivalry in 2026 or 2025, where after Mike Santana won the TNA World Championship from Trick Williams at Bound for Glory, TNA went on a 1-month break, and when they returned for a live episode, it was the NXT Outlaws who jumped Mike Santana Santana, and then Frankie Kazarian comes out with the Call Your Shot gauntlet. He cashes in. He wins the TNA World Championship for the first time in his storied career. And since then, Mike Santana has been chasing after him. He was supposed to get his title opportunity at Genesis on Saturday, but a couple of weeks ago, he announced that it was moving up to this premiere episode on AMC. Last week on TNA Impact, they had a face-to-face contract signing where Mike Santana brought up the fact that they have similar paths, where they were in a place, they worked at a certain place together that tried to kill their passion for the business, but they were able to overcome that, able to leave there, bet on themselves, and now they're going to be in the main event of the AMC premiere. This led to Nick Nemeth coming out with his Call Your Shot gauntlet and alluding to the fact that he plans on calling his shot for the winner of this matchup, whether that's at Thursday Night Impact, like he alluded to, or this coming Saturday at Genesis. So what do you think? Who walks out of the AMC premiere as TNA World Champion, Kazarian, Santana, or do you think Nick Nemeth will cash in, Call Your Shot?
If Mike Santana doesn't win, what are we doing here? And again, there you go. Santana, or what are we even doing? King Greg, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I get it. People can be like, TNA would love to do this thing where it's like, oh, we're taking them on a journey. The journey. We crossed the bridge. We went over the water. We got in the boat. We went back over the bridge. We went under the water. We took a dive into the ocean. We went across the plane. Then we took a seaplane across the bridge, and then we went under the bridge in the seaplane. We did a loop-de-loop, and now we're back at the start of the bridge. If you don't cross that damn bridge, what are we doing? And don't tell me it's storytelling, because there is no story in this other than Mike Santana won. We went dark for a month and he lost on his first outing as TNA World Champion. There was no story. There was never a plan. You biffed it from the get-go. You need Santana to win, not just for the fan service, but you also need it for the story service, because this needs to move on. We need to move Frankie on to something else. I'm glad for Frankie. He got his title. He got his opportunity. He got his Grand Slam title, whatever he won. He won all the titles. He's great. We're done. We're good. Let's move on from this. Let's start rebuilding TNA in a vision of younger talent. Mike isn't like 20, but like Bear Bronson was a great start. Dani Luna is a great start. Once that keeps moving, I will have some. I will believe in the product a little more. But right now, you need to stick this landing. And now what happens with Nick Nemeth? Honestly, I wish Nick had just said, I'm going to cash in at Genesis. I'm calling my shot because you can't have a pay-per-view main event without Nick Nemeth. You're a heel. You can be cocky. That's your Dolph Ziggler character coming out as it normally does. You can easily have just said, I'm cashing in at Genesis. Whoever wins this match, I'm going to beat you for the title. But I get it. Also, call your shot means you call your shot anytime and you can take advantage. And his rhetoric was, you two are going to beat the hell out of each other and I'm going to pick the bones. Great. I don't think that he's going to successfully cash in. And I do have a feeling that they'll just do the title match at Genesis.
I do too. That's what I got from the promo. I was like, it would be so dumb if they did that again to Mike Santana, of him winning and then someone cashing in, call your shot, to beat him for the title again. So I think that I agree. Mike Santana becomes a 2-time TNA World Champion, and then he goes on to face Nick Nemeth, who calls his shot for Genesis in the main event of the pay-per-view. Because I agree with you. I wish that last week he just would have said, I'm cashing in because I'm a pay-per-view main eventer. That's the only time I should be get my world title matchup is in the main event of the pay-per-view. So whoever walks out of the AMC premiere, I'll be seeing you on Saturday at Genesis. But maybe we get that after Mike Santana wins back the title.
Just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. It's a very, very easy ask. Just do it.
I did see Adam earlier asking where's Killer Kelly. She has not with the company anymore. Adam, I know you're probably joining us a little later, but we talked about she was one of the departures from TNA earlier this week. Her, Jake Something, and the Rascals are no longer with TNA Wrestling, so you won't be seeing. I don't think you'll be seeing Killer Kelly this Thursday or Saturday, but speaking of which, we need to talk about this Saturday, TNA Genesis 2026. Now we'll go to this show here and see if it's a little bit better than your anticipation, your hype level for the Thursday night premiere. So 0 to 10, Joel, what is your excitement level, your hype level for TNA Genesis this Saturday?
I'm putting it at a 6, and what happens on Thursday could easily plummet it down to a 2. Again, like the wrestlers who are wrestling on the wrestling show are going to put on a great match. That X Division triple threat we'll talk about, very much looking forward to that. There are matches on the card that I am looking forward to seeing. There are other things that will come out of Thursday that I'm dreading. So we'll see.
Yes, we shall see. We'll start with another special guest since we did that for the Thursday Impact show. For me, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna match you and say I'm at like a 6 out of 10. I think that it can even move up. If Thursday goes well, it can move up to like a 7 out of 10 by my hype level, because I do think that the TNA Knockouts World Championship matchup should be good. I like the storyline and the build up to the TNA World Tag Team Championship matchup. And I think, the X Division matchup by far is going to probably be the show stealer of the whole entire night. But I like most, I know even the non-title matches, I think they've built up to them pretty well. So, you know what? I'm going to go one further. I'm going to be at a 7, and it can raise up to an 8 or go down to a 2 like Joe. So we'll see how Thursday Night Impact, how it works on me this week.
All right. I'm willing to go up if the show is good on Thursday. I really am. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah. But let's talk about the guest star that I mentioned earlier, as we are going to see WWE NXT's own. He's been featured on SmackDown and the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and John Cena's final match for WWE Saturday Night's main event. And of course, he is a former TNA World Champion. Joe Hendry will appear live in Dallas, Texas at TNA Genesis. What do you think? Do we get a Joe Hendry in concert? Are we getting a Joe Hendry impromptu matchup? How do you think they're going to use Joe Hendry this Saturday?
Okay, I want everyone to hear me out. I want you to look in my face, look in my eyes. What do you see? I'm just going to say this. Why? He lost. He lost to Eric Young. He went away. He never came back. This is the most damn fine return that we could ever do. He just left. He left after the match he had with Eric Young in Edmonton. And they were just like, oh, Joe Hendry will always be a part of TNA. And I was like, no, he's not. He's leaving tonight. That's it. He's not going to be a Bound for Glory. He's done. He's gone. It's fine. Leave it off. Joe Hendry's coming back to do the entrance, get confronted by someone, hit a standing ovation, which, by the way, looks exactly like Tony D's finish, I realized last night. And it's very funny to me.
I saw that in the description for In the Weeds today, that Joe Hendry and Tony D'Angelo Sheriff. And I was like, yeah, you're actually right. That is the same finish.
So I don't know what the point is for Joe. Maybe he's going to announce he's going to wrestle at the pay-per-view. And what are they going to do? It's going to be him against Eric Young one more time. Like, him and AJ. Well, no, AJ has a match. I don't, not AJ Styles, AJ Francis. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but they'll probably just have him do an impromptu match, and that'll be that.
I can see that. We got Matthew Hooks. Good to see you in the chat. He says apparently TNA didn't want to spend any of that TV money on talent. We don't know. Maybe we get a new star who comes out and attacks Joe Hendry. Maybe the NXT Outlaws. I am booking one of these NXT. I'm booking NXT Outlaws angles for any of the guest special guests, because they've been
a dark state.
Yeah, he's gonna get Darkseid's gonna show up. They showed up before on TNA. They could just come out and beat his ass from beating Dion Lennox in a no DQ match on NXT. I think the NXT Outlaws come out, and then we get Joe Hendry and Steve Macklin versus Lexis King and Stacks.
Stop trying to make Steve Macklin happen. It's not going to happen. I love Macklin. People know this. We've done a plethora of interviews. He's one of my dudes. Stop trying to make Steve Macklin happen. He's not happening. They jobbed him out to Stacks.
Hey, he won. He won by DQ last Thursday. He won by DQ. He needs his international title back.
The dumbest way possible. He won by DQ. Made Ariana Grace get in the ring and wait 20 minutes until she finally slapped him in the face. Just the worst.
Hey, it's better than getting your butt kicked by Ariana Grace so her boyfriend could win. like my guy Shiloh Hill, poor Shiloh Hill, having a job to Stacks. Mr. Towns saying that TNA is breaking their old kayfabe with new kayfabe they came up with. LOL. And we got Adam who says Joe is overrated. Liked him at first, but that shtick is a little old. I do want WWE to add something new to the Joe Hendry character if they expect him to be this figure that can go from NXT to the main roster. I think the reason why he's still in NXT and not getting called up with the rest of the call-ups right now is because they need to add some things to make him WWE's Joe Hendry instead of the same Joe Hendry he was in TNA.
No, they just want the same old, same old. They want the entrance. They want the entrance. That's all they want. They gave you serious Joe Hendry on Tuesday because, you know, there's a time for concerts and there's a time for serious. He's a gimmick. He is a gimmick, and that's fine. I hope he gets paid for the gimmick that he provides. But, like, let's not pretend that Mr. Iguana is not right there ready to take it. Come on. Let's not pretend that there aren't other people in wrestling who can do the shtick that Joe Hendry does. He got screwed by his employer that he's going to make a special appearance for on Saturday. He did, because they did the same thing with him that they did with Santana, that they did with Joe, they did with Josh Alexander, and so on and so forth. They didn't capitalize, but he was always over with the crowd. But he was always over because of the entrance. And then, like, he did the songs, and those were great. But, like, he is who he is. And I think people need to stop trying to make him a world title level competitor, because from a wrestling standpoint, he's fine. Like, he's a Cody 3-star general who can go away, find a new hold, and come back and maybe be a big star, but he doesn't have the pedigree of being a Rhodes or being an Orton or being a, you know, having a family lineage. He's a good, comparable entertainer. That's fine. Just get money.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't expect a lot out of this guy.
That is fair. That is a fair assessment of Joe Hendry, I will say. Let's talk about his former tag team partner, actually, Elijah. As Elijah will go one-on-one with Mustafa Ali. Elijah made his return to TNA and got into a confrontation with Mustafa Ali, who attacked him during one of his concerts. This led to Elijah making his return at Final Resolution, coming up with a horse and hog tying Mustafa Ali to the horse as he rode him out of the building. Ever since then, Elijah has been a thorn in the side of both Mustafa Ali as well as Order 4, recently chasing them off with the horse outside of the impact zone. So who is going to win this grudge match here with Elijah versus Ali? Who you got, Joel? And what have you thought about the build up to this matchup?
The build has not actually been that bad. The only negative mark that I'd make to it is just that they've leaned in on comedy for Ali, who's not normally presented as over-the-top comedy. I made reference to the horse gimmick, the horse chase on this past week's Impact on my post show, where it's like, you can do that with other people, but doing that with Ali, who you're trying to position as more serious than this, you kind of take him down a peg. But I understand the entertainment value in it. I think, and I want Ali to win this, especially because they're going to have the match the night before, the 2 nights before, like I mentioned earlier in the preview. I think, again, having Elijah win his return and then having Ali win the one-on-one match makes the most sense if you're building Ali. Now, the only other thing you could do is Ali loses, you maybe build Elijah to a title match somewhere down the line on a TV show, or you have Ali completely like crash out and become more dangerous and win his way into number one contendership somehow else. So you do have both sides to do it. I would prefer Ali wins, continues to get cocky, but I don't necessarily think that the match needs to be at Rebellion, but I don't know where Rebellion's going to be. Because if Rebellion's going to be, I don't know, in Chicago, then maybe you do want to do the match at Rebellion. So I'm curious about all this. It's a good match that's been entertainingly built. And for that, I give them credit. I wonder what happens after this match happens, because you have areas for both men to play in.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Elijah to win this one. I think that Elijah will be a future TNA International Champion. I think that he could be the guy who dethrones Stacks for the title. I think that Ali is a long-term thing. I think that before 2026 is out, he should become the TNA World Champion. But I think they don't have like a urgency to get there with how they've booked him over the last year. Because if there was any sense of urgency, he would have at least got a TNA World Championship matchup in 2025, seeing how he returned around this time last year and said he is here to get a TNA World Championship matchup and never got it throughout 2025. So I don't think the urgency is there quite yet. I think that Order 4 will win on Thursday, mostly because of the Hardys' ongoing feud heading into Genesis. I think that will be the distraction that leads to Order 4 winning there. And then Ali will take the fall here at Genesis. But I don't even think this will probably be the last match between these two men. And maybe they face on a special where Ali gets his win back.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah. This one, I have really enjoyed the build-up and the payoff to this whole partnership here, as we're going to see a battle of first class. Is going to be AJ Francis going one-on-one with Rich Homie Swan, who made his return around the same time that Casey Navarro suffered his leg injury and was basically excommunicated from first class. Rich Swan made his return to replace him after AJ turned on KC, but it was more of a different type of vibe between the two men, where Francis was really the one who got in Rich Swan's ear and caused Rich Swan to turn heel in the first place, saying that he was, a former TNA World Champion and X Division champion, and he needs to get back on that path, which led to him aligning with AJ Francis. And then that was back in 2024. But upon his return a couple of months back, it was really AJ Francis who was focused more on himself and just using Rich Swan as like a proxy to basically build himself up. This led to his X Division championship matchup at Final Resolution, where Rich Swan had enough. He turned on AJ Francis, costing him that matchup. And then we've seen over the last couple of weeks Francis attack Rich Swan, and then more recently on the First Class Penthouse, it was Rich Swan who finally got his hands on Francis and attacked him, put him through a table to set up this matchup at Genesis. So who comes out with the victory? Who is the real leader of First Class? Is it AJ Francis or Rich Swan? What have you thought about the build to this matchup? Who wins on Saturday, Joel?
I like AJ Francis. He's not afraid to show his ass from time to time. And I think he's incredibly underrated in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people just want to, make him out to be a worse person than he really is. He's incredibly entertaining. He's solid in the ring, and he gives back in different ways, whether that's in or out of the ring. And I like that about him. I think he's a really solid human being for that, and a worker for that. Rich Swan is a guy who has been in and out of TNA for various reasons over the years. He's also been attached to TNA through some of the best and worst times of his life. Seems right now he's on the come up. It seems right now he's really working hard to prove not only to himself, but also to his peers that he is valued and he is valuable. And for that, I would personally like to see Rich Swan get the win. I think AJ doesn't lose when he loses. I think he quite frankly wins when he loses, and he's fine with that. He's unstoppable because he's on the mic. He gets the heat. It doesn't matter. Rich Swan, let me put it like this. Do you know how many times Cedric Alexander and Rich Swan have had a one-on-one match?
How many times?
Take a guess. Just take a wild guess.
I don't remember any of the times that they faced each other unless it was like on a 205 episode that I don't remember. Is it 0?
It's 1. It's on with
1.
It's in 2013 on a PWX show in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's happened one time. Thank you, Cage Match. Every other time it's been either multi-man or some sort of rumble or whatever. They've never had a televised one-on-one match. I like the idea of Rich Swann winning and eventually calling his shot towards the X Division title. Spoiler alert, that's who I think wins the X Division title soon anyway. So that's where I'm at. I think AJ is a fantastic wrestler, and I think he loses nothing by losing this match. And Rich Swann has plenty to gain, assuming TNA has as much value in Rich Swann as Rich Swann wants them to have in him again.
I'm going to go in a different direction. I am going to go with AJ Francis here because I feel like TNA has been slowly but surely building AJ up as a potential world title challenger. And if Mike Santana is going to win on Thursday, like most of us do want him to win, he's going to need some established heels that have picked up a series of wins that can be challengers for him on specials, on episodes of TNA Thursday Night Impact, because they're probably going to do some world title matches on Thursday Night Impact to gain interest for that show. So you need someone like an AJ Francis that has these series of wins, which he does. He had that, building up to his X Division championship matchup, and he's had that since with like the BDE matchup a couple of months ago and stuff like that. So I think he does pick up the victory here, and he is going to be one of the guys that I do think is going to be positioned to challenge Mike Santana coming out of this weekend.
Yeah, I see it.
Then we got two guys that know each other very, very well. You could say they are part of the same system because they are. Literally, that's the name of their group, the system. It is JDC's retirement matchup. Yes, from the industry that has gave you Sting's retirement match. The industry that has given you John Cena's retirement match. Hiroshi Tanahashi in the Tokyo Dome with Kazuchika Okada in one of the greatest retirement ceremonies. You're going to see the next great retirement matchup and ceremony here at TNA Genesis as JDC, the former Fandango, the former Johnny Curtis, will go one-on-one with his system stablemate, Eddie Edwards. JDC made the announcement following, I believe it was Bound for Glory, that he was going to be retiring from in-ring competition. He was winding down his career. It led to a TNA World Championship matchup at Final Resolution, him coming up short against Frankie Kazarian there, but he said that it was all coming to an end at Genesis, and he wanted to fight one of his best friends in the business, so he will go one-on-one with Eddie Edwards. And this has a lot to do with the system also looking to replace JDC coming out of this. So I'll ask you about those two things. What do you think about how they've built to this JDC retirement matchup? A lot of big systems, 8-man tags that we've seen over the last couple of months, these two men working together. And how do you think this match is going to play out? Who do you think wins? And who do you think is going to replace JDC in the system?
I think this is going to be a sleeper hit. And I don't expect this to be, super duper 5-star, but I really expect these two men to go out and like have a lot of fun. And I do mean like have a lot of fun. They're going to, as JDC said, get weird. And that gets me excited for a match because it just means that a guy who has brought you "Man, How Much I Hate Wrestling" or "Hey Town" as his greeting to the crowd, like he's so, again, the meta stuff doesn't hit for everyone, but for this character, it has for me most of the time. For all of that, I expect this to be a comedy match that is incredibly silly, but incredibly entertaining. So I hate to say I don't care who wins, but like it's wrestling and I feel like Eddie's going to win. And I don't know if that's going to really do anything for anybody here in terms of like placement on the card. But I just think that I think both men are really hoping for a really good match where it's entertaining, where it's fun, where everybody gets involved and they just tell a really good story of like camaraderie and sportsmanship. And they get a little weird, and that's fine with me. So I'm looking at this match because it's not a nothing match because JDC is retiring, but it's a nothing match because it won't have any bearing on anything moving forward in terms of the system's placement, other than who's going to join the system. So, like, could you have the new system member come in and, you know, cause the end of, like, cost JDC the match, and then the system turns heel again because they got their new member and they did something dastardly on someone's retirement tour and they pound them out and blah blah blah? You could do that, or you can introduce somebody new on the next live Impact in a week. So you have both options. I wouldn't mind just turning the system heel again, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't really work all that well as baby faces, even though I've enjoyed their run as baby faces.
Yeah, because it was time and because people were respecting the work that they did for the 2 years prior. And as a result, they were ready for a change. Now it's like, but also the system's better when there are a bunch of bad guys who are trying to win all the belts and be on top. This was Dream Team system who wanted to have the fun matches, the fun bangers with their friends before they inevitably turn again. This was like the listless entertainment system. I don't know, pick your favorite entertainment system of the past that didn't really go. It was the Sega Dreamcast of systems. And now they need to go back to being the PS5 of systems, or the Nintendo Switch 2 of systems. So they, as a result, are putting on a really fun match that has not much bearing unless they turn the system with whoever joins them next. As to who that is, I don't know, because I haven't really cared enough to find out. The fun bangers. There you go.
Fun bangers.
There
you go.
Like Chillin' with Chase underneath saying the Nintendo Wii U of systems. That's right. Y'all get what I'm saying.
That would be the system, yes.
Y'all get what I'm saying. So, like, as a result, you just want to have someone come and join in and be the bad guy. And, like, who that is, I don't know. There's no one currently on the roster that I'm like, that guy should join the system. Unless Ali fires Agent Big Bill Zero, and that night, Agent Big Bill Zero joins the system. That I could see. But then you got two big dudes in the system. It's not the end of the world. I don't hate it. But, you know, that's just one that I immediately was like, oh, we could try that.
Yeah, I was on the same page as King Greg in the chat. I think because it's the JDC retirement matchup, it would make sense for EC3 to come out. And yeah, that he started his career with him. You could have a nice moment with them, and then you could say EC3 is the newest member of the system, and he fits what the system whole thing was, that these are the guys that are like the main representative, the flag bearers of TNA. And while he hasn't been with the company in quite some time, EC3 at one time was one of those flag bearers for TNA. So for him to come back and join the system, I think that would make some type of sense. In the matchup itself, I am going to say, yeah, Eddie Edwards picks up the victory. But like you said, it doesn't kind of, like we've said with most of the wins on this card so far, that it leads to something. This one doesn't. This is more of just a great, like a tribute to JDC for his contributions to the ring. And like I said, I would love to see kind of him getting a smaller retirement ceremony afterwards that have the system come out and maybe some faces from his past like EC3.
EC3 is perfect too, because they used to have ZNA, and Edward Edwards and Moose were part of that, and I completely had forgotten until now. So yeah, you know what, they could bring back ZNA with the system. So yeah, do it. That's fine. And turn them heel. Turn the system heel in the process. And like, here's the thing with the EC3 thing on Thursday. He did the video where he's like, I can go back and Dixie and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh my God, he's going back to TNA. And I was like, let's wait on that. Because he then put out like 50 other videos, or like, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go everywhere, except the NWA because he can't tell my story. I'm like, well, just open a rant room and talk about it for $50. But instead, if he goes back to TNA and they put him with the system and he runs the system, I don't hate that idea.
Yeah. The only other names that I was thinking of is Matt Taven, even though it's been reported that he's probably heading to NWA. I think Matt Taven
out there.
Huh?
I thought it was already out there and booked that he's doing NWA.
Oh yeah, he's already doing it. Yeah, I just saw a report that he was doing it. Yeah, I just saw the report that he was heading to NWA. I didn't know if it was announced yet because they showed their shows like 5 months after they recorded them. So
yeah, no, just in talks. So we'll see.
Okay. Okay, so we'll see. So we'll see there. He's another name that would make sense with his history with Eddie Edwards and being from that East Coast area, like most of the members of the system are, except for Moose. So but that is the JDC retirement matchup. Now we got to get into the title matches on the card. First up is one I'm looking forward to probably as much as any of the other matches on this card, as Ying Lee will defend the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Dani Luna. Dani Luna has been on fire in the Knockouts division and really feels like the first kind of person that's found a spark in the Knockouts division since Jordan Grace left the company, where she had that brutal, bloody dog collar match with Indy Hartwell, where she picked up the victory, and now she's kind of adapted the dog collar and the chain to her whole gimmick, making it a part of her entrance now. She has attacked Ying Lee a couple of different times over the last couple of weeks. She's been on this long winning streak, and she laid out 4 different women on 2 weeks ago on TNA Impact: Myla Grace, Harley Hudson, Zaya Brookside, and Ying Lee, and made it clear she was coming for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. And finally, she gets her opportunity at Genesis against the reigning champion Ying Lee, who won the title back at Gold Rush in Madison Square Garden over Kalani Jordan and Jordan Grace. This one is one I'm looking forward to the most. What have you thought about the rise of Dani Luna since the dog collar matchup, and who wins on Saturday, Joel?
Oh, Dani Luna is one of those people that I mentioned that you want to count on fingers of who I would support regardless. I've seen her work so many times live, not only at Impact shows and TNA shows, but also here in Toronto. She's worked a bunch. I can't say enough good things about her as a performer, as a person, as a knockout, and as a potential champion. The dog collar match did a lot for her, and it did a lot for Indy Hartwell too at the time. And she's not on the card as of now, but with Dani, yeah, this was her moment. That was her shining achievement, her crowning moment. One thing I talked about this from a production standpoint, please stop giving her a dog collar to pull the guy in, and why is the camera guy attached to a chain?
I love it. I'm sorry, I don't care. It's great.
So it doesn't make sense. It's hokey.
It doesn't, but I love it.
Oh, it's fine. You know what? To each their own. I've said it again. As much, again, I can see both sides of this. Dani winning is, to me, what they should do, because they need to push that younger knockouts division. They need to make it believable that Dani is unstoppable until someone, honestly, probably Indy Hartwell, comes around and eventually beats her for that title. If the story is around both women, I'm fine with that. As long as Indy continues to do her part where she gets better and she becomes a better wrestler and a better storyteller, I'm fine with that. I would like to see Dani win and just go on this rampage that she's been going on. Let Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside continue going after the Knockouts tag titles and do that stuff. Angel Warriors is entertaining. It's not a knock on Ying Lee. I think one thing they should have told the story, but I understand that they won't, is the fact that when she was in NXT, Zaya Lee legitimately knocked out 2 badass wrestlers. And and sometimes those kicks, they can go flying. She's like an accomplished kickboxer, so you could draw back to that, but then you got to tell the story like she knocked people out. They're not going to do that. And also, one of those wrestlers doesn't work for the company anymore. One or both. Mercedes Martinez and was it Raquel?
Who was the other one? Was it Raquel Rodriguez?
It may have been Raquel.
Yeah, I think
anyway.
So.
And you can't really do that because Raquel's on main roster and you make her look like a star. Anyway, point is, you could have told a story where she was so badass she knocked out women during training and whatever. She's a knockout artist. Shout out to Cassie Zono. See what I did there? Anyway, so
very well done.
So I don't expect Ying Lee to win. I can see a world where they would have her win because she is higher on the SEO chart than Dani Luna, but if you're really trying to build this knockout division, rebuild it, Dani's a damn good choice. I would like Dani to win.
Yeah, I I'm like of two thoughts. I'm talking about two thoughts of here. Like you said, one of the people that I will support and I will continue to watch TNA Thursday Night Impact on AMC is for Dani Luna. Dani Luna is probably like number one for me, or number one, number two for me. You know, Leon Slater is probably the guy. You know, he's a friend of the channel, and we love Leon. Got to meet him in person and stuff like that. But Dani Luna is someone else I've seen live. You know, going to UK indies and stuff like that. I've got to see her up close and personal. Got to see her rise with TNA, with Spitfire first in the tag team division, where they were really kind of the stabling force of the TNA Knockouts tag team division for a year or so. And, you know, I really thought they could have done more with her and Jody Thread. And if Jody Thread's going to continue with the company, that's another great TNA Knockouts World Title program that they can go to, because they really didn't give you kind of the real kind of breakup and then feud between the two partners. So maybe they're saving it for when the TNA Knockouts World Title is involved in it. However, this is TNA wrestling. And what I've grown accustomed with TNA wrestling is they don't pull the trigger the first time on the person that needs to win the championship.
Exactly.
So to make this preview interesting, I'm going with Ying Lee, because I'm going to go with my TNA brain instead of my logical what needs to happen brain.
Yep. It's so frustrating, but it's so true.
I hate myself. I hate myself for saying that, but that is what this company has forced me to think.
That's it. And then, like, what can you do? You're gonna make Dani Luna go on another rampage? Like, you're just gonna have to again. The boat is gonna sail under the bridge, and then you're gonna get on the plane. The plane's gonna go over the bridge and under the bridge, and we're never gonna cross the damn bridge until it's too late and the bridge has lost all luster.
Yeah, that's usually how it works with TNA. So here we are. Speaking of which, another probably person that they'll miss the boat on is in the TNA World Tag Team Championship matchup, as we have the Hardys. Matt and Jeff will defend the World Tag Team titles against former ROH six-man tag team champions, former AEW stars Vincent and Dutch, the Righteous. The Righteous made their debut with TNA at Final Resolution, and they had their sights firmly on the Hardys. They made it clear when they came out and debuted after the Hardys picked up the win over High Rise at the show. And over the last couple of weeks, they've been stalking the Hardys. Then during the steel cage war between TNA and NXT, it was the Righteous who kidnapped Matt Hardy and took him to a shrine made in honor of the Hardys, where Vincent and Dutch have made it clear they just want to show the Hardys how much alike they are, how much in tune they are. They want to form this alliance of sorts with the Hardys, but the Hardys are having nothing to do with the creepy nonsense that the Righteous is about. They challenged them to a fight, which the Righteous turned down. Then when they went to their locker room, they saw another shrine, this time of the Hardys with their wife and children, and that was way too far for Matt and Jeff, who made it clear they wanted to fight the Righteous for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Despite Vincent and Dutch once again denying this fight, they made the match official for Genesis. It will be for the TNA World Tag Team Championships, and the Righteous said that they will have to show how much alike they are in a different way in this matchup. So will it be the Righteous winning the tag team titles to prove their point, or will the Hardys fight back against their stalkers of over the last couple of weeks? What have you thought about this feud, this rivalry building up to the pay-per-view, and who walks out tag team champions, Joel?
I'm glad that the Righteous have had a chance to talk themselves into relevance. You know, it would have been nice. They won a match or two, got themselves a title shot by actually being victory, you know, things like that. This is my favorite. The Righteous compound is a very funny idea, and it might happen. Again, going back to what TNA could do to be different, this is an idea that I would absolutely relish in. This is funny to me because as you're breaking down the story, the whole thing to me was they didn't really do much to Jeff. They did everything to Matt. Matt's just the hothead. And like, the worst they did was post photos of Jeff's family, which are readily available on the internet if you look. So like, there was nothing creepy. They kidnapped Matt Hardy. They beat down Matt Hardy. They did things to Matt Hardy that were bad. And meanwhile, Jeff's just like, yeah, not cool, but we're going to have a match. And Matt's just like, all right, calm down, big dog. Like, there's no reason for this match to be a tag team title match. It's because it's been all Matt Hardy getting beaten up, and Jeff's been Jeff this whole time. The Righteous, again, going back to who should and shouldn't, the Righteous should win to establish that they are a worthy team in TNA to keep an eye out for. But like you, I'm going to use the TNA brain, and they're going to go with the Hardys because they are the cash cow of the company. Did you know that Matt Hardy's really excited about the TNA AMC deal? Did you know how excited he was to tell everyone in Texas about how TNA was coming to AMC and they should get excited? And you know what the Texas crowd did when he did that? Literally rolled their eyes. Literally rolled their eyes. It's like, we get it. You're excited. We're not excited with you. We're excited for the rest. It's just like The Rock being like, oh, we're breaking big record gates. Like, hey, idiots, you spent more money on this than you should have. That's exactly what we're doing here with Matt Hardy. I've had this rant before, and I'm not doing it again. The point is, the Righteous probably won't win, but the Righteous should win. But the Hardys are the cash cows, and you can't really take away from the golden cows right now.
Yeah, this is another one where, I'm going to go with my TNA brain. I think the right thing to do is to put the titles on the Righteous. And I'm not, this is one where I'm less confident in TNA doing the TNA thing. I'm very confident they will do that to Dani Luna because they just seem to always do that to Dani Luna. With the Righteous, I can see them not winning any matches and having their debut match as the TNA Tag Team Champions and winning that matchup. And the Hardys can say, hey, look at the team we made. We made these guys by dropping the tag team titles to them. And then eventually they just win it back at like a Rebellion or Slammiversary, kind of like what they did with the Nemeths and that feud. So I can see that playing out in a way more than I can with Dani Luna, even though I feel like Dani Luna needs to win more than the Righteous. But I am going to go with you know what? I'm going to be different once again. I'm going to go with what needs to happen, what I think is going to happen, only because this will just drive up Matt Hardy's ego to be like, see, we made a team with another team that we made in the tag team division. We made them stars. The Righteous will become the new TNA World Tag Team Champions. That's
kind of what I understand as well when it comes with Matt. He's going to be like, we made a team. We made another one. Look at how great we are. It's fine. Worked for Team 3D and you guys, I guess.
Hello to everyone in the chat. We got Kane Lake in the chat saying hello, everyone. We got Ace who says the Hardys retain. And we got King Greg who says he's going for the Manson family. I mean, the Righteous.
I get it. I do. They should add another member. Charles Mason should join the Righteous.
Or just recruit Bateman again. Bateman was the third member of the Righteous back in ROH.
Forget Bateman. Just bring in Matt Taven.
Matt Taven, yes. No, they call them the Righteous Kingdom.
Every time, man.
I'm here for it. Yes, give me the Righteous Kingdom as the new stable in TNA. Get rid of the NXT Outlaws and give me the Righteous Kingdom.
Lexus King should join the Righteous.
The Righteous and Matt Taven. Yes, that is really the Righteous Kingdom.
Yes, I got you.
See, we're here. We got we'll talk now. Do we think what is your 0 to 100% on if they're doing Santana and Nick Nemeth on this show?
I'm 70% that they would do it. There's nothing else on this card that screams main event outside of a world title match. You could have argued the Hardys and Righteous, but it's not a big enough match to be a main event. And the X Division title match is going to be great, but it's not the main event. It's not. Joe Hendry coming back and having a match called for the main event of a pay-per-view that people have to buy is not smart. So you can't do that. Also, people know how I feel about Joe Hendry. And as much as I love the X Division, or sorry, not the X Division, the Knockouts world title match, it is not screaming main event to me either. So there does have to be some sort of, if you're not going to do a blockbuster main event tag with the champion, then you're going to need a championship match.
Yeah, I'm more confident than you even. I think I'm like 90% sure that's the main event of the show. You do Santana wins on Thursday. Nemeth tries to cash in call your shot, but he hits him with spin the block, and then TNA immediately following the show announced the main event for Genesis is going to be the new champion, Mike Santana, versus Nick Nemeth, who's deciding to call his shot since he wasn't able to on this show. He's going to call his shot at the pay-per-view.
Is everyone excited for Stacks versus Santino? You guys excited?
Yeah, they definitely gonna add that on Thursday, aren't they?
You bet your ass they're gonna add Stacks versus Santino. Of course, Santino's the main character in TNA. Didn't you know that? Even when he's really sad, and I still have to get my beat in, even though I'm really sad. Tell this to Tom and Jerry.
I have to still say everybody's name incorrectly, even though I'm sad.
Yeah, they're gonna run that match, and everyone's gonna be like, "Why?" And everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, because it's a family problem. They got family. Don't you ever have problems with your family?" I don't fight my family. Sure, I should never fought my father-in-law. I never wanted to either. Granted, I've never been kicked in the dick by anyway. Not important. Like it's just my show. Like I had no reason to want to fight my father-in-law, but it's wrestling, so of course everyone's like, "Oh, they're gonna fight," and everyone wants to fight their family. It's like, no, people who need therapy the most are the ones who need to fight their family.
Exactly. So who wins, Santino versus Stacks for the TNA International Championship?
Santino's gonna win. He's gonna vacate it, and they're gonna do a tournament.
Pretty much. That's what I have as well. I think Santino is the one who's going to regain the TNA International Championship to fight for TNA because no one screams TNA quite like Santino Marella.
They will, however, have a new director of authority soon, or a new general manager. They are going to refresh that. And if Santino is going to become an on-air wrestler for a period of time, I'm going to never mind. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll be done.
Kane Lake, who says he thinks it's going to be a triple threat for Genesis: Santana versus Nick Nemeth versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Championship in the main event at Genesis this Saturday night. I am willing to put money that Trick Williams ain't coming to no TNA anymore now that he's on SmackDown. If he was still on NXT, maybe, but not now.
Doesn't Trick have a match on SmackDown?
Yeah. He has a match on SmackDown this Friday against Matt Cardona, who also is not going to be on this card because they are both in London, England at that point.
Yeah, so I don't expect Trick to be anywhere near the TNA world really ever again for those reasons.
As far as Santana and Nemeth, I think Santana still wins. He still retains and walks out TNA World Champion.
Oh my God! If they did it again, that's turn off the program forever mentality right there, bro. The heat, bro. The heat. Turn the heat off, bully. At that point, turn the heat off and just freeze.
And then finally, we will cap things off with the TNA X Division Championship. It's going to be Leon Slater, the youngest ever champion, defending against former champion Moose and the number one contender, Cedric Alexander. Of course, Leon Slater became the youngest ever X Division champion last year at Slammiversary in a great match against Moose. Moose had went several months without ever getting his title rematch, and he called his shot for a title rematch most recently about a month ago. But Cedric Alexander stepped in and said that he has earned the shot at the X Division championship. So a triple threat was made. Cedric previously faced Leon Slater as his first challenger back at Emergence, I believe, last year, where Leon Slater beat him in another great matchup. And now they're putting all three men into this one. We saw a couple of weeks ago that Cedric Alexander scored the victory for his team with Leon Slater and the Hardys over the system, pinning Moose. And he stated after the matchup, if he does that again on Saturday, he will be the new TNA X Division champion. We also should mention that it has been reported by Fightful Select, the best $6 in the game. Go out of your way to see the latest breaking news. Cedric Alexander has signed a contract with TNA Wrestling, so he is sticking around for a while. which might dictate where you go with this one. You already alluded to it earlier. Who you going with here, and what have you thought about the build up to this matchup?
What build up?
Yeah, not really. Not much of a build up
No,
because Leon Slater's been busy building up to the NXT championship matchup.
Yeah, this has been a build up, but it's again like this is the match where you're going to be like, this is a standout, multi-star match because it's these three guys are really good. I love it when Moose gets to work smaller guys, and actually Leon's he's deceptively tall too. That's what's funny about it. He's not a little guy, and Cedric Alexander's also been putting on some mass too. But out of the three, Moose is the bigger dude. No, it's to me it's Cedric pinning Moose. And listen, the second that Leon Slater has been paid out, he is gone. He'll be paid out early because it almost feels like Joe Hendry's coming to pick up Leon Slater and bring him over to NXT next week. Like they're ready. They're ready for him. And so am I. Again, big Leon Slater fan. Love the dude. He is not long for this company. He is going to get all the money that he deserves to go over and work WWE because they want him there. Capital W want him there. For that, because of everything with Cedric, I'd give it to him. Give him that X Division title, give him that moment, give him that opportunity. He's well known for being a cruiserweight champion. I know X Division is not about weight limits, about no limits, but at least you can tell a story where Cedric is a main level competitor and everyone else has done it. Like Leon did it, Moose did it. We don't need to go back to Moose as the X Division champion again, unless you're going to turn Moose into, he was a heel going into that match too. So no, give it to Cedric. Be done with it. In a great match, I expect. But Leon is he's not long for TNA, tell you that much.
No, he's definitely heading to WWE NXT. Like WWE has shown great interest in Leon Slater, featuring him on the Saturday night's main event for John Cena's final matchup, having him win that number one contenders matchup to face Obafemi in his final NXT championship matchup, final NXT matchup, him being the one chosen to put him over and make him look good before he goes to the main roster. All of that says that WWE is probably going to buy out his TNA contract and have him come over as soon as humanly possible. So yes, a new champion should be crowned, and I agree with you. This is one I will agree with your prediction. Cedric Alexander is the guy that you put the title on. Moose has had his run. Moose is a multi-time world champion. He doesn't need this win here. Cedric can kind of solidify himself on the TNA roster as the X Division champion. He's a guy that's worked so hard since leaving WWE, and anywhere he goes, whether it's TNA, whether it's the independent scene, Ashe Wrestling, where he's on a nice like heel run over there. He's doing great things across the board everywhere he goes, and he deserves this X Division championship matchup because he's been good to great ever since coming to TNA. He had that great matchup with Mustafa Ali in his first match in TNA back at Slammiversary. He had that nice program with him, had that great matchup, like I mentioned earlier, against Leon Slater for the X Division championship last year. He's done the tag team work with Leon against different teams as well. So I want to see Cedric get that big win, get that solidifier on the TNA roster, and that happens on Saturday. New X Division champion, Cedric Alexander.
I'm all about it.
We got Matthew Hooks. He says, dumb question. If you are AEW, why wouldn't you at least offer Leon the world? If he says no, they can't offer him the world because he signed to TNA. This is the loophole that WWE is going in, where they are able, because of their partnership with TNA, to be the ones that can buy out his contract, and AEW can't even give a counter offer because he's under contract to another company.
Yeah, it's not a dumb question at all, Matthew. Like it is the reality that until what happened with Joe Hendry happened, it was like this, where AEW could be offering the world to Jordan Grace, for example, because Jordan, they waited until her contract was up, and then we're not going to play stupid. There were talks, and there was almost like an agreement in place that Jordan would go to WWE. However, like AEW still had an opportunity to say something if they wanted to. Does that mean that they could say, hey, Leon, let's say hypothetically you waited out your deal, blah, 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 we'll pay you X amount. And Leon could say, okay, I'll wait on it. But then where there's smoke, there's fire. Because if WWE's coming knocking and saying, we'll buy you out of your deal 5 months early, we'll pay you X amount, and you come to us, and Leon's not jumping on that, then you're going to think, well, if he wants to stay in TNA, it's not because he wants to be a success in TNA. And so they'll start treating him poorly, and that's just not a good look for anybody. So at that point, you're just kind of, you are where you are. If WWE wants you, they will get you. And in this case, Leon is very much sought after by WWE, and it seems like he's more than happy to go there, which I understand. Go where the money comes. And if Tony and AEW aren't going to offer you or be able to offer you the money right up front, but WWE is, you start there, you continue your journey, you're still young. If things work out, perfect. If they don't, guess what? There is a competition where you can land and possibly even command more money than what you were originally expecting. So it's not again, not a dumb question. It's just they have to play within the field that they have been given, and the Joe Hendry buyout completely changed what that field looks like.
Exactly. This is a different world with WWE working with the likes of TNA, with Lucha Libre, AAA. They can basically pick and choose who they want from these rosters now. With AAA, it's something completely different because they acquired the entire company. But with the partnership with TNA, we've seen, like you said, Joe Hendry is kind of the precedent that we're working on here. And it just seems like even more than Joe Hendry, they want Leon Slater, and they see a big future ahead for him, whether it's him and Javon Evans together or him alone on the NXT brand. Leon Slater is going to be treated quite well when he comes to WWE with the way they've been kind of like seeing the star power that he has.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is our TNA Genesis 2026 and TNA Thursday Night Impact on AMC Preview. I want to thank the great Joel Pearl for giving his insight, his knowledge on TNA and talking all things TNA with us today. Always appreciate you, Joel, and thank you so much for everything that you do in pushing and talking about TNA, whether it's the good, the bad, the indifferent with TNA. You cover it better than anyone out there and know about it inside and out. So I appreciate every time you come on board with us here. So I want to give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they might see you again on their YouTube screens.
First of all, screw you for saying that, because now I'm just like, hey, I don't want to cover TNA. And now you're just like, oh, well, but you're really good at covering TNA. So I'm like, now I got to stick around. So thank you for that. Screw you.
Reverse psychology.
Seriously. But yes, first of all, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate True Heel Heat and SP3, of course, for welcoming me back every time. If you're looking for more of me and, of course, SP3, I'm in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's when I'm on the show. But if you want all of us, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, over on Fightful Overbooked. That's Fightful's sister channel, which you can go find. We talk about everything. It's not just wrestling. God, it's life. It's everything. The first 30 minutes of today's show will prove it, and you don't want to miss it. Maybe you do. Just listen with headphones. I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. I'm on Blue Sky, thejoelpearl.com. I'm easy to find. TNA post shows on Thursday nights. Now they're going to be at 11:15 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much for that. And the Genesis post show will be on Saturday nights. If you're watching this before Genesis, it's going to be myself, Cresta Star, Steven Jensen breaking down the show. Cresta is back for the Thursday Night Impact post show this week. So we're looking forward to having her back once again. And I always love being here on True Heel Heat. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, as always, Joe. And thank you all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Comment down below. Give us your predictions for TNA Genesis 2026, as well as TNA Thursday Night Impact AMC debut coming up this Thursday. Like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you are new. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSB3. You can follow the gang Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Heel Heat. Patreon.com/True Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best way to support us when we are not live here. Coming up this week, we got our GOAT Match Series Season 2 premiere, where me and Jimmy Macaran, we went back in time and watched NJPW Dominion 2012 for our second of our Okada Tanahashi series within the series, as we're watching every single matchup from Okada and Tanahashi, and we watched their second match in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's going to be up on Patreon this week. And also, we got dropping later today, right before AEW Dynamite. If you want more talk about TNA, we had our whole talk about TNA going to AMC from True Heel Heat with me and the True Jaw Josh. When the news dropped, we talked all about it, our thoughts on TNA's accomplishment going to AMC, what we think about the future of TNA and what they need to do with them going to AMC. It was a great conversation conversation that's going to be dropping on the channel later on tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you want something to watch before then, go over to True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment, where we have the latest basketball podcast, True Hill Heat Check number 20, where me and Chris G list the top 10 greatest NBA teams of all time. And of course, check out the True Hill Heat Wrestling YouTube channel for Rated Raw review from yesterday with me and Top Guy JJ. But thank you so much to Joel. Thank you so much to all of you. If you're watching us live, watching us on demand, appreciate y'all for that. For Joel Pearl, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our TNA Genesis 2026 and TNA Thursday Night Impact AMC Debut Preview. We are signing off until next time.